just beaming down the rest of the lobby below. No one was even looking up. I think players, though, are going to be looking up today.
Yeah, I mean, statistically, they've held height for the longest amount of time out of any duo this chapter, so I expect to see those guys up on height. And to your point, Zeke, about how their confidence goes into this, I think they feed off of that so much. I think Peterbot has that aura about him where he wants to feel like he is the best player in this lobby. Nobody comes close. And I think the way that he talks about himself, the way he carries himself, I think really aids his gameplay. You can see that when he's walking out. He's just like, yeah, I belong here. I belong on the big stage. We've had second, first this year. This is our time. And I think that just plays into it. Some people will crumble under that pressure, but Peterbot's got so much experience now at winning. I think he believes in himself, and having that undisputed, undeniable belief in yourself is so, so vital when you get to this big stage.
Okay, you kind of said something that piqued my interest. We're talking about high ground, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's people that are tuning, they're like, okay, you've said high ground, I don't know what that means. High ground, low ground. Maybe break this down a little bit for us, because I don't know, like you guys that follow, you know, there's a lot of high ground teams. And there's only one high ground. So how can we expect that to kind of unfold, especially like if we're all looking at high ground going, okay, are you going up, I'm going up, and then we're all thinking the same thing. We're looking for that perfect time.
Well, obviously, by having the high ground, you just have such better angles, better visuals of the rest of the lobby. And there's a lot of that goes into kind of controlling high ground. Some teams take it a little too early. They use those mats. And then when they see these high ground teams kind of switch to wood builds, well, that's when teams are going to try and chop them out, try and steal high ground from them. So it's almost a little risky to take high ground a little too early because you're going to use those mats. But with it being a low mobility meta, stealing height is going to be a lot harder. Yeah,
it is. And I think that's where those underworld dashes are really going to come into play. Pop a Fizz, get the underworld dashes, save them to the end game. I think teams that land in that sort of area can definitely take height. And as you mentioned, it's a low, no mobility meta, so a structured height take is more what I expect to see here. When we have mobility in the game, we had various different mobility across the last few seasons and chapters. You can literally just look up, say, I don't think they're too confident up there. Let's just dash our way up and we're on height. So I think now we're going to see teams like Cammy and Seti that have taken height in the past, previously known as a low ground team, then sort of evolve their play style to take height when they need to. They're very structured at that. They're very, very good at it. They know how to get to that front side of zone and then make sure that they can claim height. So it's not necessarily you're going to be a high ground team or a low ground team. For some of these teams like Cammy and Seti, they have it all.
Yeah, and speaking of teams that like to take height, Clix and Veno. Clix, when he was playing with Epic Whale and Epic Whale, he was taking high ground way too early, around zone 9, and then on like constantly getting chopped out. But joined by Veno, who has reined him in just a little bit. They did such a good job during Major 3, controlling high ground, especially in day 1.
Okay, yeah. Let's circle back. Clix and Veno. Let's take a moment, right? Let's give them a moment to kind of talk about this duo. How are they performing? You've touched on it a little bit. Can you maybe break down just a little more for me? What has Veno brought to Clix, right? We've seen Clix kind of pair up with a few different duos, and then obviously we had Queasy and Veno for so long.
Yeah.
And then you're suddenly like, okay, wait, Veno, you're leaving EU to go compete on NA. You're already used to competing in EU, and now we're going to change all of that up, and you're going to go play with someone like Clix? Are you crazy?
It's honestly, we've already talked about it, how well paired it is. It's honestly looking almost like a trio competition where you have the IGL, you have the Fragger, and then you have the support player.
Yep.
But you just mesh IGL and Fragger together, and that's Veno. And Clix plays the perfect support. Watching them play in Major 3 was like watching a dance. Constantly in Veno's shadow, Clix was ready to prepare for him. And watching some of these plays that they made in the end game, where Clix would shoot towards a box, the team would get distracted in one direction, and then Veno would quickly rotate into the back and 1v2 them. It was so exciting to watch them play. They had their strategy down to a pat, but even when a wrench was thrown into that, they were able to evolve, they were able to adjust, and I think even though they might potentially be contested here today, I don't think that's going to throw them off their game too much.
Yeah, well, remember, Major number 3, their debut season, they were looking strong to win the entire Major. I think it was the last 3 games where things didn't quite go too well for them. I think for Veno, he didn't have a very good start in terms of EU's performance with Tayson. He, of course, played Major 1 and Major 2 with Tayson. You imagine this is like a Titan duo. I mean, you can see on the screen right now, he is ready and raring to go. He's been in this situation before, but as I was saying, he was playing with Tayson, didn't quite work out. He's looking at other options in EU and thought, well, not really any players that sort of suit me here. This is not, I don't want to be going into Major 3 not 100% comfortable. And I think that's why we saw him move over to NA. And as I mentioned earlier, Clix is just the perfect teammate. At the beginning of their sort of journey together, things were a little bit rough. You know, maybe it was a little bit exaggerated, but you could tell that things weren't quite on the same page. But now though, when you watch them in endgame, the way they play through these tarps, the way they're hip to hip, as you mentioned, making little strategies, little plays in endgame, it's so good to watch. And they're really, really exciting team in endgame. When they're playing those mid-ground layers, it's so good.
We also have to give a shout out to their coach. BloodX has just done such a good job making sure that they are ready to go, making sure that they are focused, because they are pretty emotional players. When they start getting hyped, they are on a tear, and then once they start going down, it's a little rough for them, but they have been able to work on that, evolve from that. And personally, I saw a lot of growth from Clix during Major 3, where Veno was down, he was feeling out, and Clix just kept building it up, saying, no, we got this, we're doing great. And Veno would kind of turn around a little bit and start smiling on stream, and you know Clix is locked in when he turns off his face cam and comms, and that's what we were seeing in the Cash Cup. You know that when he is starting to take away from his stream, that he is serious.
That's right. I love this breakdown from you guys. As we continue to prepare ourselves to kick off the competition, we actually wanted to check in with Adam and get his thoughts on the competition. Adam, it's crazy. I'm hyped. Are you?
I'm incredibly hyped. I mean, I've watched you guys do the walkouts. I mean, the players seem unbelievably up for this. I mean, the last couple of days, for you guys who don't know this, behind the scenes here, the players who have been in the player lounge this entire time have been obviously scrimming, getting together, competing against each other, and kind of testing the waters of what's going to be this incredible competition with 12 games over 2 days here. Personally, kind of sitting back and actually chatting to the players. It's a rare thing you get to do here at these in-person events. Obviously, you see them online all the time competing, and we kind of see their names on the screen. But actually meet them in the flesh and having kind of conversations about like life in general, how things are, how they got to this place. It's always really interesting to me, kind of the aspirations of kind of what they hope to achieve here in the next season and the partnerships, and you get a real sense of the energy and the kind of like the relationship that the players have in their duos as well here, which is really exciting. Also really cool, which is happens in the player lounge here, you get to meet a lot of the family around the, you know, kind of players as well here, players from all over the world. You get to see their kind of their friends, they're kind of like their closest who have come to embrace this amazing experience. Obviously the audience, who I love you guys already, like we've known each other for 5 minutes, and you're brilliant. The energy in that room is incredible, but to actually meet the kind of people who in their personal lives as well has been really special, and something really kind of, I always like kind of love learning about backstories and stuff as well here. But actually here in the player lounge, they were here till quite late last night. Everyone was kind of grinding, kind of making the most of their time they actually have here to kind of practice ahead of what's going to be, you know, 12 games, 6 games today, 6 games tomorrow. Don't forget as well, I'm sure that tonight after the first 6 games, there's VOD reviewing, going back, looking and seeing exactly how they can perfect their game, go into that second day where things are really going to count, courtesy of the elimination points and of course those standing points as well. For now, though, I'm going to hand back to you guys. I'm going to kind of remain kind of cool, fresh, and calm back here. It's very quiet right now, and there's lots and lots and lots for me to do, courtesy of some basketball and some fun stuff behind me.
Did you say basketball? I'll be right there. Actually, I'll be there in a little bit. Guys, as we continue to talk, I wanted to highlight another duo. Just throw out. I'll go ahead and say this is probably my personal favorite duo. It's Paper. It's Victor V. I mean, come on. We saw these guys compete, and Victor V, I feel like University's won over everyone, right? To come out, to be paired up with someone like Paper, to just kind of take him under his wing and then say like, okay, Victor V, oh wow, you're just eliminating everything. You're going absolutely crazy. Sounds good.
You know, how I was kind of referencing them in Major 3, I was like, oh, Paper, this long-standing veteran, and Victor V, the new blood. And then I actually look back, and Victor V's been competing for quite a while at such a young age, and to perform at the level that he has is so impressive. And I mentioned one coach, I gotta mention another, Victor V's dad. What an incredible coach. That little video that they released before the Global Championships, I am absolutely in love with this whole team of Paper and Victor V.
Yeah, they're like the brotherly duo, aren't they? Even when they were doing the walkout, sort of hopping over each other.
Great.
That's so cool. I love them. I'm interested to see how they're going to do. Of course, they seem to be uncontested at the moment towards that central area of the map. Interested to see what happens there. And I was speaking to Victor the other day after their media day. I said, oh, how was the media day? Did you enjoy being on camera? He said, yeah, I was kind of a bit nervous. I was like, are you more nervous for that in the game? And he said, yeah, I'm more nervous for the media day questions and stuff than the actual game itself. So he's looking confident, feeling confident as well. And I like the dynamic that they have with each other. That helps so much, especially for someone like Victor, who is young, you know, he's new to this sort of in-person event. It's just going to help settle the nerves so much.
Yeah, you know, there's kind of this dialogue of how a lot of these duos, a lot of these players, when they do break up, they kind of tend to pick someone that's already been established, a veteran. And the question is, why aren't they picking these kind of young bloods? Why aren't they picking these like young WK Kings that can really evolve, especially if you have a very established IGL? And that's exactly what Paper did. He knew, he already read the strategy book, and picking a Victor V clearly worked out in his favor, because here they are on the global stage.
Just wild. I mean, once again, we just want to continue to remind you guys just how much talent is on this stage, how many majors we've gone through, how many duos fought to the very end to try and make it here to compete on this stage. And now they're going to compete in front of all of you for a title to prove that they are the best. And now that we're kind of like mixing regions, it's not even just like, hey, which region is the best? No, no, no. It's just who's got the title and who doesn't.
I mean, I think when you talk about regions too, what's so exciting is that when these smaller regions really do pop off, we were already talking about Jerome and MK Papa, but I want to know who is going to be popping off today. Are we going to have one of these smaller regions really showing up the rest of NA and EU?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that was King and Phaser. I thought these guys were going to be the best of those smaller regions. Of course, so much experience on stage. Of course, they won Major number 3 as well, so they seem to know how to play in their own region as well, as we already know. I think that was kind of a little bit of a question mark now that they might be contested by one of our teams. So they already had a really good drop spot. I'm intrigued as to how that off-spawn battle is going to go, because I don't think it's necessarily going to work in their favor at that particular middle of the map drop spot.
And speaking of other smaller regions as well, we already talked about Haman and Cal Gamer.
Yep.
But FKS and Adapter, that one team to take away that one win from them in Major 2.
Yeah.
So another incredible duo here that might be showing up, although they are contested as well.
Yeah, they are. They're sort of like that mini Olympus area, just the north side of that. I'm intrigued about what they're going to do there. Whether one of those teams decides if they do win off spawn, maybe they go towards that north side of that Grand Glacier area. If the fight does take a little bit longer, maybe that could be a good opportunity for them to get some Storm Surge as well. Even those static launch pads that are nearby as well, they can get up on that hill, base up a little bit as well. So they have so many different options at their disposal. And I mean, Cal Gamer and his teammate as well. What a duo to talk about, because I love the way that Cal Gamer carries himself, right? He's one of those players that's just like, he's so cool. Like, he never shows any nerves, and you can see why. He is so good on Middle East. I believe he's got the highest amount of damage this entire chapter as well. So he is one of those players that can perform on LAN. It's all about what that off-spawn situation is going to do, because we saw it at the last Global Championships, contested in both the upper and the lower bracket, and they didn't make it to the grand final. So I'm hoping now they can hopefully fix a few of those off-spawn mistakes.
Okay, I want to circle back here. Bugha, Aviv. All right, let's talk about this guy for it. No, but yeah, you guys can cheer. It's okay. It's okay.
Allowed.
Yeah, Bugha. I mean, dude, you know, when we think about Fortnite, if you're someone who's like never heard of Fortnite at all, but someone says Bugha, you're like, yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I know Bugha is, right? I want to see this guy win a global championship title. To just have like every single title imaginable, like it just would cement him forever, right? He's already regarded as like this incredible player, and when you have as many like accolades as him, like people would just, they would trade it all to even have like even half of those accolades.
And just how, you know, just how strictly people look at Bugha, where if he's not getting first, then he's getting last. I don't understand how the community could ever say like, oh, Bugha's washed, oh, he didn't win global championships.
I don't get it.
But then he gets the back-to-back wins between chapters 3 and 4, and then of course going for 3rd place in Major 1 is 7th place in Major 3, and they did split up in Major 2, but obviously they felt some kind of synergy. They understood that this was the duo to make their ticket into the global championships.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out when they split duos. They of course came back together, and that's really difficult to do when you're a team that has had a little bit of success before, split up, come back together. What are the vibes going to be like there, right? It's like, hang on a sec, you just dropped me and now you're coming back to ask if we can play. So it's nice to see them still performing well. I genuinely think this is a really good chance of them getting a top 5, maybe even the win, depending on how the weekend goes, because their situations seem to just work out really nicely for them. I mentioned it earlier, they can go towards that east side, towards that castle. Lots of different teams, even to the north of the castle as well, that are going to be landing there. So interesting to see how they can sort of manage those early Storm Surge damage. And even if they do get a little bit of their loot stolen from that gas station to the south of their drop, I still don't think they're going to be in trouble. I still think this is a team that can pull it out of the bag. Much like Acorn and Cole, when it comes to the end game, they're still going to be looking stacked because they can find those eliminations.
Yeah, I mean, Bugha, an incredible IGL, and then Aviv grabbing all of those eliminations as well. And the loot, like you were talking about, the loot that they walk out of that POI is absolutely ridiculous. They are stacked by Zone 2, and no one wants to face them. Although, a cute little caveat for the moments that we got to see in the Cash Cups, where he saw Peterbahn and Poyo. Bugha and Aviv were currently in first place after game number 5 from the recent with Cash Cups, but Peterbahn and Poyo, you know that they want that win, the win before the Global Championships. And so they literally left the forecast tower, the only time that Clix and Veno got that forecast tower, and wanted to chase Bugha and Aviv. And Bugha and Aviv saw the token, saw that little glowing around them. They knew that that was where the coin was, and ran away. But again, it worked out in their favor because Bugha and Aviv came out on top.
Just crazy stuff, man. I am so hyped to start the competition. It is almost that time. Acorn and Cole, though, we have to mention these guys, right? We got a little taste of these duos. And I mean, we can't forget as well, Cold also walked away at EWC with a win, right alongside Ritual. So he's already got this confidence in him. You've got Acorn right there, ready to go. I mean, do we think these guys could go, like, could they make that top five? Could they win it all?
So before Major One, before they won, we asked the question, you know, as a fun little thing,
yep.
who do we think is going to win the Global Championships? And I said Acorn and Cold way back when. I mean, after their run that they had last year, it was absolutely phenomenal. Getting 7th place in the Global Championships for 2023 just solidified their spot as two of the GOATs of Fortnite. And then they do it again, winning Major One once again this year. They just the way that they synergize together, the IGLing, the fragging, it is perfection.
Yeah, it is. I think it's all about that off-spawn battle for me down there at Brutal Beachhead. Andalex and Saito, these guys are not a bad team in any regard. I mean, they're here, so that says it all. I mean, Andalex being around the block, being a very, very experienced player over on EU. Saito, more of an upcoming player, and he is really, really good as well. He's one of those players that lots of people have got their eyes on as some up-and-coming talent in the EU scene. And I think this is a team that, yeah, they're probably going to try and play a little bit slower off-spawn. They're not necessarily going to try and finish the fight too quickly. As I mentioned earlier, they might try and dip on out. I'm not too sure how splittable Brutal Beachhead is, so if both teams decide to try and stay, there might be a little bit of an engagement there, but I think both teams would be more than happy to kind of just dip out.
I think you're right. I think Saito's going to grab a few chests and dip.
Okay, all right, I like it. We just got word. We're gonna check out the Creator Lounge. We've got a little interview lined up with Blake and Somerset.
Told you guys earlier, the Creator Lounge was all about getting in contact with some of the influencers around Fortnite, and we're joined by the awesome Somerset and the awesome Blake. Thank you guys so much for joining us. First and foremost, how's the event so far?
It's been amazing. Meeting the fans, a surreal experience. I couldn't expect anything more.
And Blake?
It's been crazy. We walked in, we were literally getting swarmed, taking pictures for like an hour, trying to find this Creator Lounge. But I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited to see the event.
Blake, I gotta ask you, right? You know, you have a lot of experience playing in competitive. You've played against a lot of the players on that stage. Who are you looking at thinking, this is the best player in the tournament right now, these are the teams to beat?
I mean, obviously we got to look at Peterbot and Poyo. You know, they won back-to-back FNCSs. They're coming off into this event looking like the favorites to win. But, you know, there's 4 teams at their POI. Another team I want to look at is Clix and Vino. But they're being surprise con by some OCE team. So we got to see how it plays out, but I'm excited.
Somerset, listen, an event of your own coming up, right? Big competition on the horizon. How are you feeling for that?
Stressed, happy, sad, I don't know, everything, mix of emotions, but, you know.
Awesome to get that insight, though, from a competitor's standpoint, because we got all those competitors out on the stage.
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at the venue so far, people packing in, do you yourself even, you know, remember back when you used to play a lot and get nervous about, you know, just how many fans are there waiting for you? Like, how does the nerves factor in when you're up there on that stage?
I mean, I feel like most of these pros on this stage are experienced, and I don't think the nerves are really affecting them. And for the new timers, like the one-time land qualifiers, like they're gonna feel it game 1 dropping in. Once they land on that map, they're gonna be good. The nerves are gone, they're locked in, they're ready to win.
And obviously you both are just awesome content creators. Any content gonna be coming from you guys from the event? And if so, let everybody know where you guys can, or where they can check them out.
Somerset with an O, no U, but anywhere on any social.
There you go.
Yep. We'll be doing a meet and greet in the main lobby at 1:30 p.m. Central Time. I'll be IRL streaming it at twitch.tv/Blake.
Awesome stuff there, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. And for now, we got more coming your guys' way.
I'ma find you. ancora trovato la laurea giusta per te? Scopri il Smart College. Corsi di business, management e nuove tecnologie. Metodi di insegnamento innovativi e case di studio unici. Opportunità di stage con oltre 500 aziende partner. Un campus unico a 2 passi da Venezia.
È proprio fissato con sti annunci immobiliari, eh?
Oh, ci tocca uscire! Con Immobiliare.it ti basta salvare la ricerca e attivare le notifiche. Così ti avvisa Immobiliare.it appena escono nuovi annunci.
Been bouncing back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. I keep coming back. I can't hold it back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. It's just a mission. I do them in my sleep, no commission. I like a side quest, love opposition. With surgical precision, they make losing their tradition. Yeah, they talk and they talk, but what they say to me, I'm chewing it all, it's hitting my jaw, the way that it hurts you to think. I'm building a wall, 90s tall between you and me. I'm out of space, you're out of peace, it's a different game, and I'm out of your league. Say you wanna love, if you wanna love, make a move, don't stop and wonder. Gotta take it out, 'cause I want it all. No, I stumble, I'll keep bouncing back. Take your cap, take a step, 'cause I've been back. Oh, just like that, I beat you in, crank up back to back. Oh, just like that, I see a dub in my future stats. Oh, I know a place you can go. The doghouse outside my massive abode. It's lovely, it's cushy, and sometimes it's cold. Now sit and watch me get this gold. Oh, I want it all. I bounce back. I just want it all. I just want it all. I'm gonna bounce. I'm gonna bounce back. Said you want it all, but you want it all. Said you want it all. Bounce back. Said you want it all, but you want it all. I can have it all. If you knock me down, I'll go to the floor. I
FNCS is the biggest tournament of the season.
100 players, 50 teams of 2, players all around the world. They all travel to one place to play on a stage in front of everyone.
One weekend, one map, the last one standing wins the game, 12 games, and they crown the champion. That's how I'd explain it.
No other games doing it like Fortnite. The esports here is crazy.
So the most consistent duo this year,
I mean, it's obvious.
Best duo in the world right now. I mean, placements speak for themselves.
they got second Major 1, first Major 2, first Major 3.
And they won like a lot of duo cash cups, so.
Well, the first season in general, they were dominating. Now they're looking really strong.
I don't think anyone put them that crazy. Like 100% the most dominating team of everyone.
I mean, there's no one else more consistent than us, I would say.
I'm not sure that it will surprise anyone, but I'm pretty sure that Kami and Saitsu will do good, as they always do on LANs.
They kind of just have everything scripted. They have the entire game scripted and how they're going to play it.
They're always one step ahead of everybody.
I'll say Epic Realm was impressed me with their performance. We just stopped playing with them last season to play with Veno, and I was really hoping to qualify for global. So them getting, I think, 7, it was impressive for me.
And then another team which is like also pretty underrated still is Batman Boog and Rapid. I think they're also kind of underrated.
I just think they match really well together and like they know how to play the meta. They're good like fighters and all that.
Rapid's a super smart guy. They've been doing really well these last 2 seasons, and they've kind of proven to everyone they're like as good as the rest of us.
They're on a come up this year. They're doing good. I think they can sneak in a top 3 here if they play their best.
So one person that I've been watching, that I would really love to incorporate some of their game into my own, is Seti and Kami as a duo. Actually, every single land they come to, they come from more prepared than anyone. They have more strats up their sleeve.
They just create new strategy and new metas on their own. Basically, everyone watches their games to see like, what they're doing, and then they can learn from what they do to implement it into their own game. I say probably Acorn and Cold. I think Acorn, he has a really good understanding of the play style that I try to play as well. I think we both kind of do the same thing.
I want to see how he thinks about some situations.
And then Cold, I mean, he's just a good fighter.
If I want to do it and do good that's not us, probably be Nana and Cooper. Good friends with them, and I think they have a really big shot.
I think Suzy and Yapko, because Suzy can play with his duo. Also last year he couldn't play on LAN.
Mariuka Mirsash, because it's my friends.
I hope City does good today. Like, he deserves it. I think he also deserves to play a good tournament too.
I want Clay to get a top 3 for the first time in his career.
I would want them in these teams to feel good.
Yeah, for me it's probably Reason with DA, Janus Pixie, like all the Germans basically.
Honestly, all the OC boys, I hope they do good.
100%. All my friends, you know, Kanata, Paper, I've been helping them out on the side. Just trying to see them do good. You know, when I thrive, I want my boys to thrive too type thing. So this is how it be.
Something tropical. Soft summer breeze. An easy escape from cops. Because your safety is our priority.
I can throw in a really big axe.
Free tattoos. You can explore 1,000 different places every day, dog. Make sure it's with the Republic of Gamers. For those who dare.
Follow me across the ocean to the land you've always dreamed.
Non hai ancora trovato la laurea giusta per te? Scopri Smart College. Corsi di business, management e nuove tecnologie. Metodi di insegnamento innovativi e case di studio unici. Opportunità di stage con oltre 500 aziende partner. Un campus unico a 2 passi da Venezia.
Hello, Moto.
È proprio fissato con sti annunci immobiliari, eh?
Ci tocca uscire! Con Immobiliare.it ti basta salvare la ricerca e attivare le notifiche. Così ti avvisa Immobiliare.it appena escono nuovi annunci.
Immobiliare.it. I can't hold it back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. These mountains, I'll tow 'em. Those pebbles, I'll roll 'em. No bridges, claiming peaks while you're plateauing. I flag for my city, not really, just kidding. 90 tags they taking from me. This one right here's only for me. My power's so raw, you're living it. I bet you bet on my odds. If I had to fly, slides dissolve the minute I got on my bed. Don't need 2 cents or your consent to give it 100%. Cause I'm a beast, so lower your head. I rise, I set. Say you want it all, if you want it all. Make a move, don't stop and wonder. Gotta take it out, cause I want it all. Don't stumble, I'll keep bouncing back. Take a step, cause I've been bouncing back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. I keep coming back. I can't hold it back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. It's just a mission. I do them in my sleep, no commission. I like a side quest, love opposition. With surgical precision, they make losing their tradition. Yeah, they talk, but what they say to me, I'm chewing it all, it's hitting my jaw, the way that it hurts you to think. I'm building a wall, 90s tall between you and me. I'm out of space, you're out of peace, it's a different game when I'm out of your league. Say you want it all, if you want it all. Make a move, don't stop and wonder. Gotta take it out, cause I want it all. Don't stumble, I'll keep bouncing back. Take your cap, take your step, take a step, cause I've been back. Oh, just like that. I beat you in, crank up back to back. Oh, just like that. I see a dub in my future stats. Oh, I know a place you can go. The doghouse outside my massive abode. It's lovely, it's cushy, and sometimes it's cold. Now sit and watch me get this gold. Oh, I want it all. I bounce back. I just want it all. I just want it all. I'm gon' bounce back. Said you want it all.
if you miss, you gon' regret it. Before you crawl, know I'm running it all. I'm built up like a pharaoh, now they praying that I fall. Through shadows, been burning through these battles. No weakness in my body, need to know you better ask somebody. Already, I consume the patty, it's plenty. I leave a penny for thoughts about how I'm living. Ay, turn up the track, going deep, I'm in the zone. You know I'm about to go, harder than harder go. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Burn up and see the glow, I'm gonna make it. No, it's a rap, got the match built like a pro. You know the legends go, harder than audio. When the lights shine bright, that's my show.
Something tropical. Soft summer breeze. An easy escape from cops. Because your safety is our priority.
I can throw in a really big axe.
Free tattoos! You can explore 1,000 different places every day, dog. Make sure it's with the Republic of Gamers. For those who dare.
Follow me across the ocean to the land you've always dreamed.
È proprio fissato con sti annunci immobiliari, eh?
Holmes, ci tocca uscire! Con Immobiliare.it ti basta salvare la ricerca e attivare le notifiche. Così ti avvisa Immobiliare.it appena escono nuovi annunci.
out, can't lose and find a go. Leave me in the zone, I take your mind and then I snatch your soul. Turn up the track, going deep, I'm in the zone. You know I'm about to go, harder than hard to go. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Burn up and see the glow, I'm gonna make it known. I get it, they love my whole steady. Big ops don't listen, told you this ain't hypothetical. Answer the call, prove this once and for all. Can't reach me with an arrow, summer nights I never fall. No cattle, the goat don't wear a saddle. Go riders off my body, cut them off, they acting sloppy. Already, I consume the petty. The vision's 2020, believe your eyes are winning. Turn up the track, going deep, I'm in the zone. You know I'm about to go, harder than hard to go. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Burn up and see the glow, I'm gonna make it known. It's the rap, got the match built like a pro. You know the legends go, harder than his adios. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Burn up and see the glow, I'm gonna make it known. The track going deep, I'm in the zone. You know I'm about to go, harder than hard to go. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Burn up and see the glow, I'm gonna make it known.
Non dire il mio nome.
Non dire.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. Chi è Beetlejuice?
Sei frutto della mia immaginazione? Anche questo è la tua immaginazione?
Beetlejuice al cinema.
I bomber passano a livello superiore. Arriva Gillette Labs per una rasatura e un comfort superiori.
Shave like a bomber.
Gillette Labs.
Big day today. Got everything you need? Plastic bandana. 6 sneakers. All right, you're good to go. Oh, your bag.
Questo è Google Pixel 9. Questi sono i ristoranti che Dan ha suggerito per sabato. E qui ci sei tu che chiedi a Gemini. Inserisci questi posti sulla mappa. Comodo. Google Pixel 9 con Gemini.
Ti ha affascinato nei libri e i film ti hanno fatto sognare di giocarci. Finalmente, ora hai l'opportunità di prendere il volo e giocare a Quidditch in prima persona. Parteciperai a competizioni in stadi che hai visto nei film, così come in luoghi di cui hai letto solo nei libri. Harry Potter Campioni di Quidditch. Il tuo percorso per diventare una leggenda del Quidditch inizia ufficialmente.
Poker Stars News, il sito di news con tutte le statistiche e gli approfondimenti sui tuoi sport preferiti. Scopri di più su Poker Stars News, lo sport a 360 gradi.
Before you find the goal. Leave me in the zone, I take your mind and then I snatch your soul. Turn up the track, going deep, I'm in the zone. You know I'm about to go, harder than hard to go. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Burn up and see the glow, I'm gonna make it known. I get it, they love my whole steady. Vegas don't listen, told you this ain't hypothetical. Answer the call, prove this once and for all. Can't reach me with an arrow, summer nights I never fall. No cattle, the goat don't wear a saddle. Cool riders off my body, cut them off, they acting sloppy. Already, I consume the petty. The vision's 2020,
superiore. Arriva Gillette Labs per una rasatura e un comfort superiori.
Shave like a bomber.
Gillette Labs.
Being myself is the boldest thing I can do. My own self. Proud, strong, free, emotional.
Myself, L'Eau de Parfum, and the new Le Parfum, Yves Saint Laurent.
Big day today. Got everything you need? Classic bandana. 6 sneakers. All right, you're good to go. Oh, your bag.
Questo è Google Pixel 9. Questi sono i ristoranti che Dan ha suggerito per sabato. E qui ci sei tu che chiedi a Gemini. Inserisci questi posti sulla mappa? Comodo. Google Pixel 9 con Gemini.
Why can't you cool? Just let me cool. Poker Stars News, il sito di news con tutte le statistiche e gli approfondimenti sui tuoi sport preferiti. Scopri di più su Poker Stars News, lo sport a 360 gradi.
square dance on the floor. This is not a ball, I'm above it all. Starlight, see my glow up, where you supposed to go? Proceed on the low, can't lose and find the go. Leave me in the zone, I take your mind and then I snatch your soul. Turn up the track, going deep, I'm in the zone. You know I'm about to go, harder than hard to go. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Burn up and see the glow, I'm gonna make it known. I get it, they love my whole steady. Vegas don't listen, told you this ain't hypothetical. Answer the call, prove this once and for all. Can't reach me with an arrow, summer nights I never fall. No cattle, the goat don't wear a saddle. Go riders off my body, cut them off, they acting sloppy. Already, I consume the petty. The vision's 2020, believe your eyes are winning. Turn up the track, going deep, I'm in the zone. You know I'm about to go, harder than hard to go. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Burn up and see the glow, I'm gonna make it known. It's a rap, got the match built like a pro. You know the legends go, harder than adios. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Burn up and see the glow, I'm gonna make it known. Up the track, going deep, I'm in the zone. You know I'm about to go, harder than hard to go. When the lights shine bright, that's my show. Burn up and see the glow, I'm gonna make it known.
What is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for your patience. We really do appreciate it. After some technical difficulties appeared on stage, we resolved those issues, and now we'll be working to get our players back on stage and get into the action. So we look forward to seeing that with you. At the end of the day, we're here to see some Fortnite, and that's what we're going to see. As we prepare, though, as the players start to come in and whatnot, we're going to take a couple moments just to highlight just a few duos. Wanted to highlight here Reason and Vidil, a duo that we are very excited to see compete here on stage. There's some Reason fans out there.
Yeah.
A lot of them. Yeah, that's the joke. There's a lot of me included.
I mean, there's a reason to like Reason, and when you look at the run that they've had this year, getting 7th, 4th, and 5th from Majors 1, 2, and 3, respectively. I mean, it's crazy talking about the consistency that all these duos have brought here today, and to see them being competing together. I am so excited to watch Reason and Vidil.
Yeah, really interested to see how these guys can do. Of course, they're landing at the Doom's Castle towards the northeast side of the map. They have a couple of teams there as well, so they're not going to be uncontested there. But this is a team throughout the whole year have performed really well. As you mentioned it, Kelly, they had a really nice year with a 7th, 4th, and a 6th. Really, really consistent placements. And they're able just to find really solid games when it matters. They're able to get into that situation of endgame, finding eliminations. It just seems like whenever you look at the leaderboard at the end of a tournament, it's like, oh yeah, Reason and Vidil, they're in 5th. How did they get there? We haven't really seen too much of them, but they sneak their way up, and I hope they can do that this weekend.
And you talk about them being contested. Although the north side of Doom Castle, they're not necessarily contested.
Yep.
They kind of have that north side to themselves. They're going to have that siphon coin to themselves. They do have 2 sets of duos that are contesting to the south and to the north, which honestly sounds like the perfect storm for them to third-party these other duos, especially that duo that's landing north of them, which there isn't much to go for there.
Yeah.
I can imagine Reason and Vidil focusing that duo to get some of those Storm Surge tags.
Yeah, and I mentioned it earlier as well, Booga coming in from that west side, they could have to deal with that situation as well. I mean, that drop spot is it's such a big drop spot, so many different little nooks and crannies where you can sort of hide and try and sneak around. I think we expect to see a little bit more of elongated fights happening there from teams that are coming on in, and I love that. I mean, this is the star of the show right here. This Peely, we've been looking at him. I love it. I love it. He's been doing some emos randomly. I don't know if he's doing it for anyone or he just naturally does them. He's just pulling out emos.
He's doing it for everyone.
He's doing it for everyone in the arena,
this Peely right now. This Peely is giving us all the energy we have and hopefully the energy to the players as well. As you can see, they are starting to come back into the stage, get onto their setups, and as we get ready to get into game number 1.
That's right. We are just so thankful for you guys, the fans. We really do appreciate your patience. We are sorry about that, but we'll be getting back into game very, very shortly. I wanted to also talk about Bryson Bolts. When the players came out and Bryson Bolts came out, the arena went kind of crazy, and it's a little unexpected because I don't want to say like, hey, there's duos here that don't have fans. It's just like sometimes the arena will be like, Bryson Bolts are like, rah! I'm like, yo, you guys are, what's going on? I'm down.
I mean, they've had this interesting dialogue all year long where they're like, oh, who's the underdogs? A lot of people ask, and a lot of people say Bryson Bolts, but again, they aren't necessarily underdogs. In Major 2, they got 6th place. In Major 3, they got 8th place. And similar to what we saw from Batman Booga and Rapid, they got 8th place by only playing 11 out of 12 games. Who knows where they would have been if they had all 12 games?
I remember last year Globals as well, Bryson Chubbs, they were a team that took us by surprise.
Right.
They did so well. I think they won a couple of games as well on the Grand Finals day. It was one of those where it's like, where did these guys come from? But that's what this global championship stage can do. It can put you on a little pedestal. It can be like, look at me, I am a professional, and I'm a very good professional player at that. And I think that's what I look at when I'm looking at this duo. This is a duo that have that experience of doing well, Bryce in particular. So I'm intrigued as to what they can do, particularly with their drop spot now. They're wanting that forecast tower. We broke it down earlier on. Vico and Flixie are trying to not let them have it, but they're more landing towards the forecast tower. So what we've seen, some teams like basing up on that hill, trying to stop Vico and Flixie trying to come over. I'm intrigued because we haven't seen Vico and Flixie have too many problems going for that. So I'm intrigued as to what they're going to bring.
Yeah, it's a dump and house and split, and they kind of have this little lake where there's a crash plane. They get tons of metal from it, and then they get to go to that quick rotation over to the forecast tower. Honestly, it's a bit of an underrated split, and I understand why Bryson Bolts have been there all year long.
That's what we need, right? Is another fight for another forecast tower. The observers are going to just be in just a handful of spots across the map. Is there a forecast tower? Yes. We're going to go hang out there. Another duo here to highlight is Janus. It's Pixie, another EU duo. And of course, I mean, Janus. I mean, come on, fans of Fortnite, if you've watched, you've been following, you know this guy's incredible.
I mean, going all the way back to 2020, winning the solo invitational of Janus, and then Pixie having a great performance in the Globals last year with Cheatin'.
Yeah, really great. I mean, that was a duo where we were like, another one of those teams where these guys just came out of nowhere. It seemed like they'd been performing well going up to that, but now Pixie was one of those players that was kind of a commodity, if you like, going into this last major of the chapter, because he was performing very well. So many different players and so many different players in EU, very veteran players as well. We're looking at Pixie and thinking this could be potentially a good duo partner for me, an up-and-coming player, picked up now, of course, by Janus. Uncontested red line rig. Interested to see what they can do. I think this is another team where, yes, it says they're uncontested. If you're one of those teams, Kazi and Aspect, for example, maybe they might look to land on them, but the experience of Janus and, of course, Pixie being such an important player within this duo, they performed very well in Major number 3 where they got 8, so I'm interested to see what they can bring here.
You bring up the fact that, like, you know, they kind of look out and go, hey, this is an opportunity, but that was kind of what this year of Fortnite was, right? Yeah. So much of the landscape changed after Global Championships last year, right? It was kind of like, yeah, we're kind of going back to LAN, we're kind of doing things, but once we got there, it was like, okay, this is different, right? Like, now that we're here, next year has to be different. And so many of these duos just looked across the board and were like, maybe I should pick up that duo, I should pick up this duo. Like, it's been a crazy year.
I mean, I always say that there is only one thing you can predict in Fortnite, is that it is unpredictable, regardless of if that's the map changing, the meta changing, duos literally changing between qualifiers and semifinals. We really don't know what's going to happen until the games start.
And what I love about these global events is no matter what happened in all the majors, you know, as you mentioned, different metas, different teammates potentially, it all doesn't really matter because this is where it all goes down. These next 12 games are going to be absolutely electric, and I can't wait to get into it.
That's right. We've got another duo here to talk about Epic Whale and Muzz. I mean, you kind of highlighted them at the start of the show there, Muzz being one of the first duos to kind of win in multiple regions, and Epic Whale, I mean, when we had NA West, when it was NA West and NA East, he just couldn't stop winning. He didn't know how to, like, stop winning.
Yeah, it's funny because I was literally just talking about how duos will split up between qualifiers and semifinals, and I literally was referencing Muzz and Epic Well right there. They actually had different duos getting into the qualifiers, and then once we hit the semifinals, because both of them did qualify, they were able to switch duos because there was a little caveat in the rules there, and obviously it worked out well in their favor, finally punching their ticket into the Global Championships, and beyond Epic Well being, you know, the 5X, however many X's he has in his name, regardless of the back-to-back-to-back, regardless of the Gamers 8, looking back all the way to the World Cup where he got 3rd place, he has been doing it for so long. And then of course Muzz, the powerhouse from OCE, now representing North America. This is definitely a duo to look out for.
I love watching Muzz play. He's such an impressive player to watch. Some of the things that he can do, the mechanical ability of Muzz is second to none. And I was speaking to him the other day in the hotel. I was saying, you know, are you feeling confident? How's things with Epic Well? He said, yeah, I'm absolutely confident in Epic Well. It's all about me. Can I make sure that I'm going to play my best game? He's a little bit nervous that he might get awareness checked, but he said if I don't get awareness checked, if I'm playing my game to the level I know I can play it at, I think he's feeling like he's going to be successful, and there's no reason why not.
I love that. Self-reflection, though. A lot of the times, these players will kind of look to outside sources as to what's going wrong. Oh, well, it was this duo that focused us. Oh, it was Greece over here. But players that can look inwardly and understand where they could have gone better, not necessarily what went wrong, but what they could have done differently, that's what makes or breaks these champions.
Yeah, that's a mark of maturity, right? For someone like Muzz, again, like you said, to win multiple times, that's how he got that far, right? To be able to stop and go, okay, now what could have I done better? Because it's very easy to point fingers and go, yeah, well, my duo or this thing or this pod or the POY or this thing got removed or whatever. But to stop and go, no, what can I do to really minimize that, like, almost RNG we experience?
Yeah, and there is definitely a level of RNG. Obviously, the most notorious is where is that zone going to pull? And if we have some teams landing on the south and the zone pulls to the north, well, how are we going to be able to handle that? What rotations are we going to be prioritizing? What teams can we potentially face against? Being able to, it's what these Fortnite players are able to do with how much goes into it is honestly uncomparable even to some of the other bigger esports out there.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, you mentioned the zones, particularly now in the low to no mobility meta, particularly that sort of 8 zone, those later stage zones, maybe not in endgame, but it's those rotations where you have a maximum pull zone. It's those teams that have the forecast tower. It's those teams that have got their storm surge early. It's those teams that aren't trying to fight on the rotates. They're the teams that are going to try and put themselves in the best position and find the most success, but it's so difficult to do. It's so easy, it's so much easier said than done. Just be like, oh yeah, just go front side, go around teams, don't get shot, don't go into another team, don't box fight. But it's so difficult to do in practice because there's so many different things going on in your head. Oh, we need a bit of damage, let's hop in there. Maybe that's not the best decision to make. So the low mobility meta really shakes things up, and I'm interested to see how the players can see how they do the affection of that, I should say.
Yeah, I love that balance, right? Kind of striking, okay, we're starting the game, let's say we're uncontested, great. We know we have to hit 555 materials, right? Wood, brick, metal.
Yeah.
We have to go and we have to get our loot. What weapons are we doing? What's our surge strategy? Now it's zone 1. We got to start getting in position. We are low on surge. Surge is on. What tags are we getting? Oh no, someone's boxing on us. It's all just so dynamic moment to moment.
And what's been so exciting with this season is that usually when we see loadouts from major to major, it's the same weapons in everyone's loadout.
Yep.
But this major, between the shotguns that we have, the ARs that we have, the pistols as well.
Yes.
There's a lot of variety, actually.
Yeah, there is lots of different loadouts. He spoke about Thomas HD earlier on with that Monarch pistol, expecting some big damage coming out of him this weekend. There's just so many different varieties. Even the new shotguns, of course, you mentioned. Lots of different ways that teams can not have necessarily just one best shotgun, not one best assault rifle. Lots of ways to express yourself in the game. Are you more of a close box-to-box player? Do you like to play a little bit further away when you're taking fights? And that's what I'm interested to see a lot of our teams doing. How can they show their identity this weekend, applying themselves in the new strategy and the new season?
Do you guys feel that, like, in that moment to moment, right? So let's say we're gonna have this surge strategy. We're gonna need this loadout. Does that change moment to moment? Does that change zone to zone?
Yes, 100%. Obviously, you need those long-range tags. You're going to go for the ARs, having to get those storm surge tags, of course. But once you get closer, once you get to the end game, you're going to go fighting box to box. You want to make sure that you have your favorite shotgun. And really, depending on the player, you might see Sovereign, you might see the Gatekeeper, or you might see that Hammer Pump.
Yeah, or even those dual-wield SMGs. Those things are absolutely crazy. I think a lot of teams, a lot of players will be looking to pick those up towards the later stage of the game. When everyone's a little bit closer, you don't necessarily need that range of the assault rifles, of course. It seems like the burst is the most common one for the players that are trying to get the storm surge tags. It's not quite as good in box, so expect to see a lot of teams trying to switch that up going into the late game.
Is there maybe a weapon or two, or an item, or anything that, you know, if these off-spawn situations don't happen, oh, you know what? Oh, guys, I'm getting word. I'm getting word. It is that time. Once again, from the bottom of our hearts, we are so thankful for your patience. That's right. It's game time. Let's send it up to our casters for game number 1. When you see us, we want to see W's because we're ready. It looks like the game is just about to kick off here. Let's jump into match number 1. Fort Worth, here we have it. We are kicking things off here at the FNCS Global Championships. And of course, we know what is in store for us.
Already getting a close-up pay-per-view of what's taking place here with Queasy and Thomas. And you have to keep in mind, Duke's Sphinx, not too far from this location here at Research Rock. Brawlers Battleground, I think, providing a decent opportunity for a little bit of early clashing, potentially.
We'll talk about those early clashes. We already know what's going to happen here. It's Malibuca Murstache versus the Power Alex, the Power Worthy. First tags are going to go to Carmine Corpse Murstache, though.
Yeah, that was a big shot implemented there by Murstache. It's going to provide a lot of pressure as well, just enough for him to be able to group with Malibuca. They've already found a Flowberry Fizz. They're getting the shield online. Worthy and Alex know that they've got to be fast on these Avengers chests.
Yeah, and this is not the only contested team, right? There are going to be other fights happening here. Play close attention to what's going to go down, though. Power Alex and Worthy do have a little bit of a disadvantage here, playing the low ground as the standoff starts to develop. Meanwhile, a quad contested drop spot for Peterbot and Foyo, who have control of their side, where Trashy and Threat seem to be in a little bit of a head-to-head.
Well, hold that thought, though, because for a moment it seemed as if we were going to, potentially be dealing with Kazi and Aspect here, but I don't see them anywhere in sight, NDF. I think right now, Swizzy, Yapko, they're just trying to do what they can to prevent themselves from being the victims of Trashy and Threats currently, but also keep in mind what Peterbot was saying earlier on. That bot is always going to be ours. Emma Frost's Medallion and that Mythic Striker Burst, that's everything that they're after, and he's already collected it.
Wow, so Peterbot and Foyo already off to a great start here. Clearly, they have the advantage. Clearly, they even have the respect of the teams landing here not to step center foot into their location.
It's only a matter of time, though. As soon as that reveal Medallion actually procs, there's going to be 15 seconds that Swizzy, Yapko, Threats, Trashy, they're all going to be marked here at the raft. So escaping might not be the solution. They're going to have to fight their way out of this.
We've seen the interviews. We've seen, Trashy and Threat's perspective on this. They already know that they're going to have a problem with Swizzy and Yapko, and that Peterbot and Foyo will just be waiting for their opportunity as the time continues to tick on. You can see they're doing just that, ready to possibly pounce here in the coming moments. But Vino and Clix, y'all, are here, and they are indeed contested.
The moment these names lit up on screen, you can just hear the crowd going crazy. I mean, a clear fan favorite for good reason. And I think the most incredible part about it is just listening to Clix talk about the fact, hey, we just found out a couple days ago, yeah, we are going to be contested. But for Damo and Resigns, you have to also factor in, this is familiarity for them. Sandy Steps has been their home as well.
Yeah, and this is a lot of respect coming from both sides. Clix and Vino, of course, just feeling out the playing field right now, playing the outskirts, meaning that no team can, rotate from behind them, whereas Resigns and Damo are content with their side of the map. But Middle Eastern teams are on the set here. Haman and Cal Gamer now up against the likes of CZB and Nathan, who's underneath them.
And CZB and Nathan, I think, definitely one of those teams that I think a lot of people would view as that potential underdog story. But the interesting aspect is knowing that they are going to be contested here at Grand Glacier. And what we're seeing a lot of right now in the players that are just having these small, mild interruptions to their traditional loot paths and what kind of dominoes effect that might have after the fact.
And also, just look at how many players are alive. This is about as intense as it can get when there's this much money on the line, when you have this much time, right, to wait, sit, contemplate your strategy. What are you going to do when the call comes? You have to answer it. Chapentini here pushing the pressure, pushing the conversation right now. Agers not looking good for him. He's going to be the first to fall, and that's one NA team down.
Bit of a tragic start there for Rise and Agers, but their downfall is Teeny and Chaps Uprising. Bound to be super happy with the elimination damage that they just secured there. Surge tags are always going to be so crucial And in a lobby like this, MDF, we know that we have so many heavy power hitter teams. That's going to be insane to think about. You have to connect on every single shot.
Well, here's someone who's going to do just that. Thomas HD doing an excellent job holding his high ground. He's got the angle down on the teams there in the distance. I saw Gone in Quanti as well, still at Mount Olympus. We know that they have that drop spot, not for free, but again, that southern side is theirs at the moment. Queasy and Thomas HD are going to be happy with these tags, right? This is the bigger picture of hyper-competitive Fortnite. It just doesn't get more difficult than this. Clearly, we have a lot to talk about when it comes down to Cammy and Seti. This is a team that is a favorite and a favorite for a reason, as is Vico and Flixie, some of Europeans' strongest coming up, and I dare to say part of the new era.
Sparks already started to fly, though. Vico trying to see if he can get an overhead view onto Virgo and Shadow. A little bit of a wraparound. Virgo now trying to see if he can switch, but Shadow, he's left too exposed. Vico, Flixie, they take the opportunity. They try to collapse. A nice connection, but at the same time, Shadow still standing. Virgo knows it's time to bail. And they're going to force themselves into a disengage, but Flixie, he's not interested in that. Flixie wants more.
Oh, yeah, this is a storybook kind of conversation right here. This is something that we expect it to happen. If you're going to go up against the likes of Flixie and Vico's pathing, you just have to get out of the way or get ran down. And Virgo and Shadow are going to be another NA team to fall here to the hands of a European juggernaut. And, you know, this is, again, I have an inkling just to start for Flixie and Vico.
Hey, there's a big reason why these guys have Reckless Railways uncontested. You do not want to have to deal with some of those up-close and personal box fights early on, but Paper, Victor V, they've also found themselves in a little bit of skirmish here. Clone, alongside Kremzu, trying to make sure, but they've got to be careful. Look at the stealth opportunity here. Gone and Quanti, absolute ninjas.
They're getting really close here. A lot of danger lurking nearby, and Brazil, of course, known for what they're capable of when it comes down to jumping in and playing aggressive, and they do just that, but no, the ambush was unsuccessful. Paper, oh, so close, escapes by the skin of his teeth. Talking about Brazilian teams sneaking up. It's Persa and Ed also on the prowl right now.
Everybody just crouch walking up to all of the commotion that this box fight is bringing just outside northwest side of Mount Olympus here. And the most important aspect, though, Paper, you gotta respect that 180 turnaround, throws up the middle wall, make sure to protect himself. But Persa, they've now found an opening, but it's gonna be cut short. Victor V, Paper, all these teams starting to congest here, and a surge base on top to boot.
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Persa and Ed are recognizing we have to get in a fight. Like, whether we want to or not, Storm Surge is gonna become an issue. And if you're unfamiliar what that means, when there's a certain amount of players alive, the game is gonna force you to fight other teams. Damage will start to rain in the visual of lightning bolts and take you out the game if you're not being active.
The real thorn in the side right now, though, for Victor V and Paper is it's evident that they want to get inside of that bunker. Clone and Kremzu, though, they are doing everything in their power to prevent anyone else. They might find themselves trapped at the bottom of it for a time being, though, because keep in mind, teams do like to hold whenever they find duos inside of that bunker.
Quanti and Gone also setting up, looking back inwards, trying to see what's going to happen here. Meanwhile, Victor V and Paper really wearing the results of this drawn-out fight on their loadout right here. You can see ammunition starting to run low, builds even shorter than that. It's only going to be a matter of time before this starts to go super south, so if Paper and Victor V can't step up and finish this fight soon, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, but at this point, they have to find closure. There's no opportunity to retreat. You are all in at this stage. They've invested too much time, and they know that they need more surge tag damage as well. Clone, Kremzu, more than content to sit this one out, though, because the weapon bunker is sounding, and they're going to have the advantage once it opens.
Yeah, if they get to jump down there first and, of course, secure the goods, there's going to be a lot of loot that's going to be given out to Clone here shortly, but Paper and Victor V don't want that to happen. You can see how much more urgency, right, is put behind these shots now as they're trying to push in.
Clone, Kremzu, the opening has arrived here, but Victor V, Paper, they're still, I don't want to call it hesitant, but definitely wary of what awaits them when they try to catch Clone and Kremsu exiting that bunker. Malabuka, Merstash, though, they've encountered some early difficulties here, it seems like, at Restored Reels. Last we checked in, they were getting a couple of decent tags onto Alex and Worthy, but now, knowing that Malabuka is in that solo position, it's gonna be tough to make his way towards a reboot ban with this much traffic around him.
Yeah, undoubtedly. Look at Kanata and Cooper, though, on the move right now, trying to continue to find their way not only to the new zone, but play for this high ground, right? Looking for tags off in the distance, and very different strategy for Kanata and Cooper, where we see a lot of those other duos looking to get box-to-box fight, you know, very close quarter. They're keeping their distance almost exclusively now from other duos and other paths of duos.
But I really love this positional check, though, from Kanata and Cooper, because they've taken over a hill just northwest of Restored Reels, and they know all those duos that are far west on the map, far north, they're gonna have to rotate through Cooper and Kanata. They're just, Kanata is notorious for setting up surge bases in positions where you have ample opportunity to deal some damage to other teams.
Oh, look at this. This is the clash we all expected. Vino and Clix versus Oceania's Damo there, who just rotated by. They're going to be the first to get a couple of tags and start to get the lead here. You have to be really careful. Vino and Clix are going to recognize that if they stay in the storm, what's going to happen, those other teams are going to have strong positions to give them even more of a problem later. But it seems like they want to continue to press the action here.
Kashoro, though, kind of could get caught in the mix here. Not sure if Clix and Veno have spotted him out just yet, but Kashoro, the moment that he tries to break through, that's when Clix sees small opportunity to try and bounce in here. But again, MDF, this is getting a little bit more drawn out than maybe what Clix and Veno were after.
Yeah, because Andalix and Sato were still here. They thought it was just a solo, but now they walk into almost a spider's web here. Sato and Andalix do have heals as well, so they can kind of sustain themselves for quite some time, but I'm not sure how much Andalix has to work with. Meanwhile, the GOATs of the region, the kings of EU, the most consistent duo in the world when it comes to LAN performances in the recent years are here.
Every view we pan over, it's like sharks in the water currently. The fact that Cammy and Seti have now decided to just stroll on over so casually, but they recognize there's no real openings for us to chase this one just yet. Let's prioritize our positioning and set, because they can always set up to intervene. Kashoro trying to do what he can to escape, but Vano's gonna shut that one down in no time. His first elimination goes to Clix.
Vino's gonna be the first to claim it alongside Clix here for a big elimination, and that's gonna set themselves off in the right pace here. Still, pay attention on the other side. Kanata and Cooper, completely opposite situation now, as we talked about them keeping their distance. Visual and Braids are gonna step up to the plate. Let's see if they can hit this swing at bat, but nothing just yet.
Something important to consider, though, Visuals and Braids, this is our duo that came in at the final hour. Just last night, they discovered that they were going to be participating on the global stage. What's their prep time look like in comparison to everyone else? But more importantly still, Braids, he's trying to make sure that he brings the fight to Cooper and Kanata. They're not willing to fold. A couple of armored walls already expended from both sides as well. Kanata still able to find the shots that matter, though. And him and Cooper doing a decent job at just trying to forcibly create space.
And this is not just any backup duo here. This is a team that is very much tenured and familiar with one another. They, in fact, have duoed with each other throughout the year. So, again, not your regular backup team. This is a very, very scary team to be fighting right now, and a huge opportunity like this is not going to be taken for granted. And you can see the fact that they forced these great players to use their armored walls tells a lot. Let's jump in with Merstash and Malabuka here, though, as the Storm Surge is effectively active now. Great place to be rotating through here at the Grim Gate, but I'm not too sure, even after being picked up, if Merstash is going to have a chance to really get back into the swing of things, as the Rift Island's already gone up, and we already know who's playing for it.
Peterbot and Poyo did not even wait a moment's notice. As soon as the Rift Island spawned in, these two were prepped and ready to go. Peterbot already taking advantage, putting some pressure onto teams that are just trying to rotate at the bottom of Rift Island. You know, teams like to try and utilize some of those rifts along the bottom, but again, when you have a team like Peterbot and Poyo, and they're not the only ones lurking either, Trashy and Threats as well, making their presence known. But keep in mind, Poyo, Peterbot, they've got that reveal medallion.
Yeah, they're going to be able to scout them out in just a couple of moments here. So Trashing and Threats will have a big problem here. The hold up, King and Phaser talk about problems, are pushing down into the EU duo. Now, there's something that we know about King is that he's not someone you want to face in a box fight. What he's managed to do all throughout this week is instill fear into every duo. He has challenged players in the practice rooms back to back and has been the most successful.
But the way that you're mentioning that, it's all about the solos, and this is a duos game here, MDF. King trying to see if he can get a little bit of revenge damage onto Reason or Badil, but currently, Germans, they're the ones holding height, and King, he's gonna have to start burning through some of these small shield potions, and the real issue is once those shields crack, Badil, Reason, more than close enough to hear it, but they also need the damage, so the key is inevitable.
Yeah, both sides are extremely aware that this is a fight for Surge right now, and should King's team get a tag, the Surge is gonna flip. They are the team quite literally above them, and it doesn't really get much closer than this, and this is the most opportunistic time for King to take down a duo here. But Reason, there it is. Opportunities start to shift here. Reason and Badil now. Pressure starts to loom on them.
Craziest part to think about too is that they've still got to watch their backs because Rift Island just lurking in the distance, slightly higher elevation than themselves. Peterbot Boyle, they were definitely trying to see if they could track down anybody for some additional tags, knocks, elims, ideally, but one of these teams has got to get a go on here, MDF. They can't afford to just sit idle. It's either fight or get eliminated.
Here it comes. I'm seeing two shots coming from both sides. Reason goes for it first. Vadiel on the other side doing an excellent job, but a trade comes out. King's weak, and he's going to be the first to fall. Reason and Vadiel come out on top, and even then, it's just enough to stay alive for now.
Crazy, though, when you think about how many teams are getting caught inside of these box fights, inside of the Storm itself. Merstash, Malabuka, they're just on a recovery tour currently, and it's incredible to think that they're still 156 above that damage threshold, despite that hiccup of Malabuka having to make the reboot van play in the first place. Wax and Ping, though, they seem like they're primed and interested, potentially, but instead it's just going to be heading to the top of Rift Island. Malabuka might get faced, though. He wants more damage.
Little does he know, though, there is Trashy and Threats up here. Xset right now, still lurking nearby. I'm very curious as to why they haven't gone yet. And we might just find out here soon if they end up opening the box and taking fire, but no, Malabuka takes flight first. And he's gonna get pretty far off. Will it be enough,
no
Taco?
way.
It's not looking like the math is gonna math here, as Malabuka's gonna be the first to fall. He tries to get as far as possible. Merstash will have to land on him and save him now.
The problem, though, is that we're looking at 2 tick zones currently. Monster, Merstash, he can try his best effort, but I fear he might meet a similar fate because even if he makes it into this next edge of zone, he's still gonna have to deal with all the teams that are already based up, situated, and ready to take advantage of the players that are late straggling in.
Take a look at this refresh from Dino and Clix now, as they managed to find themselves a little bit of a cachet from some leftover action between Casper and Prism. Prism now not being in this fight, and still you have OCE's Damo and Resigns almost on this warpath with them, continuing to be that thorn in their side, if you will, for lack of a better phrase. But back on over to the focus here as Clix is looking for action here. Those are his walls. It's Acorn, it's Cold on the other side. A very scary team to go against. In the warm-up games yesterday, in the scrims, right, in our practice lobbies, they pulled off a incredible 16 eliminations just to show the lobby what they're capable of.
The real issue is just knowing that for Clix and Veno, Clix, he just needs some fight feels. And you're not going to get that at this stage unless you're able to take down another team successfully. Merstash and Malabuka, though, have pulled off a miracle at this point. And it does seem, even though they're a little bit worse for wear, they're battered for sure, but they're still kicking, and that's all they need at this stage.
They do have big shields as well to work with. That headshot that he picks up right there is going to make a huge difference there as far as their survivability is concerned. Major eliminations are happening, though, as we're covering the action here. One of those, it's Peterbot and Boyle staying active here. Down goes Cheap from the high ground there. And they are doing what we expect of them. Very healthy, extremely material capped, and now picking up points. That's a runaway train potentially starting to take form.
Meanwhile, other teams like Cuddy and Kovacs, just trying to see if they can find an angle. Yuma Rise under a little bit of duress here, but it's back to Clix. Veno trying to see if they can finagle their way out of this awkward position that they found themselves in, boxed up right next to Acorn and Cold. But again, Acorn and Cold, they've got decent amount of materials to work with. More importantly still, though, I think that they are certainly willing to jump into a fight if it calls for.
Oh yeah, yesterday has absolutely proven that they can take on any team without a problem. Talk about good teams that are still standing right now, teams that we've been kind of following the story. Victor V and Paper. Paper a little worse for wear. Seems like a bad peek's gonna go ahead and put him on the backside of this engagement here. And Veno facing the struggles of taking a lot of damage here as well, and not being able to recover now as they don't have whites.
Still has a couple of flow berries, but again, will that really be enough? Queasy, Thomas HD now starting to surface as well near their area. Ritual, though, takes some big tags, left that wall open just a moment too long. But Ritual, free, keep in mind, coming out of Doomstad, they gotta be dealing with Epic Oil and Muzz early on. The fact that this dude already has 3 Elens is rather impressive, but Malabuka as well, still holding his own. Shari's got a little bit of an angle peak advantage, so Malabuka's gonna look to try and see if he can find a more aggressive push from underneath. Meanwhile, Mustache, again, just trying to make sure he doesn't take another tick from the Storm, but it's too little too late. Just barely makes it in. At least Malabuka can go for the revive.
You know, all things considering, he'll have more HP when he stands up than he did when he went down, so it's not all too bad here, but it is definitely time lost. The surge is active. They need to find a couple tags. Into the box they go. Back behind him is another duo as well, and if he doesn't hit this shot, he's going to be sent back to the lobby, and he hits the one that matters. Malabuka and Mustache are clawing their way out of this hole here, and unfortunately, it might not be enough here. It's so close.
Malabuka is doing everything in his power, but I fear they have finally met their end. Zero business making it that far in the first place, though, but that is the kind of power that Malabuka and Mustache can bring.
Well, here's a couple things to celebrate. Placement points has been reached. We are inside the top 25. Anyone alive now is going to start to be rewarded with more and more points. This is where things start to almost compound for you, so you want to stay up. Veno is down right now. Clix has a very important decision to make here. Do you save your best mate or let him get sent back to the lobby so you can just focus in now? Seems like he wants to go for the save. Armored Wall is going to be the saving grace here for a moment, though. Instead, Veno makes the call. Leave me. Continue to play the game here.
Veno knew there was just way too much pressure coming from the other side of that wall. A fully intact duo, and that duo being Queasy and Thomas HD. There's just no realistic opportunity for Clix to bring that one back. But Queasy, he's actually looking a little hurt here. He might have been desperate at that point, and Clix finds himself in a similar situation. Only has small shield potions to rely on, 2 below. When it comes to the damage threshold, he's got to make a move, and he's got to do it now. But I don't think anybody's giving him an opening.
Well, he's still inside the top 20 now. The more teams that fall, this would be excellent for Clix here. He just has to hold on a little bit longer, and he is doing just that. A little bit of a zone pull towards his side, more or less. But High Ground has Cammy and Seti looking from up above, and it has never looked better for this duo.
Kadu and Sia having already been eliminated. And again, reconvening with Clix's
oh my god
POV, but Clix is just crazy with the movement. The fact that he managed to escape.
Still alive.
Still
he's clutching. Almost a top 15 now, and he's inside the top 15. Could he make a top 10? It's so close, and down he goes to the hands of Peterbot. He takes him down. Peterbot is also a solo.
It could have been anybody in this circumstance, but of course it had to be Peterbot. But take a look at the high ground. Chapentini. And they're looking for even more still. 5 eliminations already built up here, Monster. And they've got a really strong grasp on this high ground.
What an incredible view for Chapentini. This is coming off the mountain here. Seti seems to have lost his teammate now. Has to do this on his own here, but still. Anything can happen, but Muzz and Epic Wero inside the box, inside the lane. He's throwing armored walls down. That's going to buy him a little bit of time. Excellent plays here from Seti. No time to play with this Storm, though. He just cannot afford it.
Seti's doing everything he can to try and scale his way up this mountain face, but things are just going to get all the more vicious. The higher he climbs, the more pressure he might encounter. Muzz is going to find himself in a situation. Peterbot goes huge there, though, off the Seti.
8 eliminations. eliminations now for Peterbot and Boyo here. Peterbot still going, nearly finding another one there. Just moments away now from a top 5 here. Can he do it as a solo? He's getting spotted out though. Armor wall comes down. Another weak player in front of him. Oh, he did get a tag. Never powering out. It was so close. But now the focus comes into who will win game 1. We have just 4 teams remaining. Make that 5. Acorn and Cole find another.
Duke simply too sabotage, losing his duo Sphinx there to Peterbot, but Acorn and Cole, the fact that they are still intact, 5 armored walls as well to work with here for Acorn. Chapentini, though, they're trying to see if they can look for an opportunity to collapse. Vico, Flixie off in the distance as well. The mid-ground starting to really pile up here.
Well, look at this. High ground starting to run out of material. Vico and Flixie, this is the pick for me. The team that I knew, you leave them uncontested. They're just going to put in dangerous work here on the field, and it is starting to shape up. Acorn and Cold and a saving grace on the low ground. On the outskirts, putting pressure onto Japan's best. Rise and Yuma, who also has 7 eliminations. Yuma sends up against Acorn, finds a beautiful tag there. Loses his teammate, though, finds another exchange. It's back and forth here. Anything can still happen.
All these teams scurrying in the low ground, though. They're sabotaging each other. Acorn's gonna go down. Yuma's still standing tall, but now Chapentini from the high ground, they're just gonna collapse, and that is just another elimination to add to the count. Vico, Flixie versus Chapentini. It's a battle of Europe.
A battle for the ages indeed here. 5 eliminations still for Teeny and Chap. Things are starting to rack up. Teeny, the first to go down. Chap's also weak. They jump in. They close the game. In game number 1, the victory royale will go to Chap and Teeny.
Could it be more deserved? The way that they held down that high ground, MDF, you could tell that they were aiming exclusively for the victory royale at this stage. But granted, you have to keep in mind, there's somebody on the ground that can help out even more so.
Dallas, would you please give it up for your Game 1 winners? Chapentini, do you want to step up for me here, fellas, so everyone can see your glorious faces? Let's kick things off here. What a great start. I mean, you guys, obviously, Game 1, a lot of pressure, a bit of waiting around the beginning, but in front of these fans. To walk us through the end game, how did things pan out for you guys?
Good. We're the best players, so it's easy.
Best players, easy. I mean, I love the confidence there. For you as well there, I mean, your teammate here, you guys worked to get Vico and Flixie in the last seconds there. You had the high ground. Is that what really counted there?
Of course, we're only playing for height, and that's how you win games. That's it.
Coming into this competition, obviously a lot of expectations, things that might happen. Did things pan out in that first game as you thought they might, or was it very different?
It was different. We took forecast, and then we just played out.
Those forecast towers are playing very pivotal in this as well. How important are those in the rest of this competition with 11 games left to go?
The most important thing, if you get that, you win the game. It's easy.
Would you please give it up one more time for your Game 1 winners, Chapentini, everyone! Oh, things have started beautifully here. There is loads more coming your way here, courtesy of the FNCS Global Championships 2024. A short break from us here on the broadcast, but do not go anywhere. Stay exactly where you are. There's loads more coming your way very, very soon.
DF, the best taco. Back over to you.
Yeah, that was a very intense